Welcome back to My Leader Source. My name is Jason, this is Rodney. We're going to be going over the dumbbell push press. The dumbbell push press is just a variation of your push press outside of the barbell realm. We can pick up dumbbells, we could use kettlebells if we needed to. So any apparatus that you can find, 5-gallon jug filled with sand will work just as fine. The way we're going to start off is we're going to actually pick the dumbbells up. Now remember, when you're doing the dumbbell push press, we're working the same muscle groups as the push press. Going to get a little help from the legs, so the quads will be involved. There'll be some core tension to stabilize the midline. The shoulders and triceps will get involved as well as some of that upper chest. So what Rodney's going to do is he's going to bring up the dumbbells into the rack position, or what we call the rack position with dumbbells. He'll have a gentle support with the shoulders, so he can go neutral grip, which is the palms facing each other. So he's going to take those dumbbells and turn them in toward each other, using that shoulder as just a little bit of a rack. All right. You'll notice he has that nice vertical elbow position. What he's going to do is I'm going to have you turn sideways, Rodney, so they can see that upper back as well. So in position, Rodney's going to start off with his legs nice and tight. Okay, knees are tight, glutes are tight. He's got this nice upright spine. What he's going to do is he's going to create this dipping motion from the heel. As you see, he drives that knee forward just maybe 2 or 3 inches, just enough to get the stretch reflex in the quad. So he's using that quad to help bounce him out of the bottom and throw that weight up off his shoulder. So what he wants to do is make sure he gets that extension. So he's coming down, he's going to dip, extend, and then press. Notice as he dips and drives, he's going to dip, all that weight floats up. So the more leg drive you give it, the faster those weights will go up, right? So give it a good one, Rodney. Good. So speed is really determined by how fast you decide to come out of the bottom and how fast you press those hands. Remember, we want to get this weight off of you. So as you're pressing up, move those hands quickly, right? As you hit the top, you will probably have to decelerate because you might throw these things out of your hands if they're super light at first. So take your time. Remember, when you're going to the top, fast, but don't yank your shoulder out, okay? You'll also notice as Rodney is dipping, he's making sure that that chest and shoulder from the hip down stay vertical, right? So there's no bending back and forth at the hip, just nice and vertical press, okay? Let's show him a front view of that real quick. You can shake your hands out if you need to for a second. Yeah. Tough move. So now he's going to bring it back up, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you this turnout that Rodney's doing with his hand. So another key point, if you have an issue with going overhead with that neutral grip because that shoulder just won't let you get extension, or that elbow won't, what you can do is you can turn the dumbbells, and that should allow for a better position mechanically in the press. Notice how he turns them back into position as he comes up. He goes from the neutral position at the bottom into pronated position at the top. So he's just turning those dumbbells straight overhead as he goes up. Okay, you can relax for a second. Okay, cool. So thank you for the key points to success, right? Yeah. Key points to killing Rodney's shoulders. Now, we're going to go over some of the common faults, and most of the common faults associated with the dumbbell push press are the same as the barbell push press. The only difference is now we have 2 inanimate objects floating around in a 360-degree environment, so it can be a little more dangerous on the shoulder, so just be careful. So we're going to talk about the dip position first and what can go wrong in the dip, and for this I'm going to have Rodney actually turn sideways. It's a little bit better. Couple things that we see go wrong with the dip. One is pushing the hips too far forward and getting into the toes, which would be pulling that heel off the ground. So he's going to sink in, and what you'll notice if you look down here at his feet, his toes, he's getting into those toes as he dips. His hips are shifting out of the center line, which will throw off the direction of the weight as it goes overhead. So wherever that hip, see that angle of his body? If he tries to push, it's all going to want to come back on him. So it's going to throw it off. So what we want to do is we want to correct back, get the weight in the heels, and make sure we're driving through the heel the whole time. Okay. In position, another bad fault if he gets extended is one, making sure not to push the butt back too far. Okay, so we're not squatting. So when he dips, go ahead and dip, he's going to push the butt back really far. So I want you to pretend like you're squatting. This is not an advantageous dip for you. Because of the loaded position here, notice that spine angle. You'll notice the weight will try to pull you over, one. And secondly, if you try to get extension, it will probably leave the weights out in front of the body as he pushes overhead. We don't want that. We want to line up straight up. Okay. Other things are a lazy rack position. So I'm going to have you face forward for me. Okay. And what we want to do is bring those dumbbells up, and we're going to talk about lazy rack positioning, and that's trying to hold the weight off the shoulders too much. This is going to tire you out if you're holding the weight off the shoulders. So we want to use a little support. So if for some reason you're hanging these dumbbells off your shoulders, okay, so go ahead and go to bad position. You want to pull up, squeeze those elbows together to support the load, so bring them in, and that will solidify your rack positioning. Okay. Another common fault. You want to set those down for a second? Yeah. Take a second. So as he goes overhead now, we're going to talk about lack of extension and active shoulder. When he comes up overhead, he's going to dip, drive, and extend. Now what you'll find is you'll see this bent elbow and this inactive shoulder position, right? So you can tell he's not fully extended. So show me full extension. There's full extension, right? So as he comes down, give me 2 or 3 bad ones where you don't get extension. No rep, right? No rep. So you see that slight bend, right? And now what we want to do is we want to correct that for 2 reps. So he's going to come up, full extension. Notice the elbow. Notice the good tight body positioning, right? Hips are engaged, legs are tight. Excellent job. You can relax, Rodney. Perfect. So remember, whenever you're doing the dumbbell push press, you can relax, man, sorry. You want to make sure, one, focus on getting a nice dip, right? The core is in line. We're dipping, making sure the knee goes forward and the weight stays in the heels, keeping our torso vertical. We're going to drive out of the bottom, making sure we get full extension before we begin that press. And we're going to reach full extension at the top of that position. Remember, the dumbbell push press is a great shoulder endurance exercise. It's used to help push yourself past that pressing limit. So let's say you're performing just the dumbbell press. You get to 95 reps, right? You're impressing those pretty ladies or guys, right? And you get to 95 and you decide 96 through 100, you got to use that push press, okay? So it's usually used to progress past your normal threshold on a press. As soon as you fail on a press, you can get those extra 2 or 3, just adding that little push press. Or you can utilize it as an endurance exercise right off the bat for power and just go straight into that push press. Again, thank you for joining us here at myleadersource.com. Thank you, Rodney. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys later.